See this year races.
Unlike so many drivers, hey, you know what? I need to get to IndyCar. This is where I want to be. But here's a driver right now that has got a win already at Barber Motorsports Park, so he knows he can win. But he's just been kind of a step behind Michael D'Orlando, his teammate, throughout the entire season. If indeed Jagger comes back next year in USF2000, easily the outright championship contender for 2023.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the choice and the decision is as we hear the cars starting to fire to life and come out on track and begin this qualifying session for the USF2000 cars.
Indeed, drivers working their way out onto the racetrack. And what they'll get here is 20 minutes of green flag racing. We have a 30-minute window in which to do that. So if we have an issue, we can go red, we can stop the clock. But if we go straight through for 20 minutes of green flag racing, green flag running, that will be it. That's the max amount for qualifying here now. Earlier today in the practice session, drivers using a set of used tires that they carried over from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car event 2 weeks ago. They've all got to bolt on the fresh tires now for this weekend. They have 3 sets of Cooper tires for 2 rounds of qualifying and 2 races. A little bit more strategy. You're not just bolting fresh tires on. You have to be able to manage the tires throughout the 4 sessions past the practice session. So we're on the clock right now for qualifying for the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship. Again, the first rung of this Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. Those you get trackside here, of course, this is where the Kyle Kirkwoods, the Renus VKs, this is where they first got their Road to Indy career started here in USF2000. Italian-built chassis, the carbon monocoque chassis, very similar to what you would see in IndyCar, whatever it may be. It's built by Tatis in Italy, the same chassis as you'll see in the Indy Pro 2000 car. The engine's all built by Elite Engines out of Wisconsin. That company owned. Oh, driver's gone off. We've got contact in the front straightaway. Opening lap, a driver has made a mistake coming out of turn number 11, and that's the number 10, Thomas Naveau. Thomas Naveau. He's trying to spin this car back around. He's got damage, though. Wing damage and right rear damage. Todd got too hot on cold tires coming out of turn number 11. Just what we didn't want to see. Now, I think we're still clean and green right now. We haven't gone yellow. He'll limp his way around and potentially go off the racetrack. You can see him coming down the back chute here, but he has got damage to the front wing and severe damage to the right rear, having hit the wall in the exit of 11.
Oh, yes, we mentioned it. Just this is the kind of thing you don't want to see. Just trying to do a little bit too much, too quickly, maybe thinking he had a little more heat in the tires than he actually did.
That's actually him right here. That's the number 92 of Billy Fraser, who's slow coming up the straightaway. There's the 10. That's the 92 of Billy Fraser, who's had some issues. So indeed, Billy Fraser as well for Exclusive Autosport with some trouble. And as we said, the issue there for Thomas Naveau. I think he's going to be done anyways. He'll have to park that car. The damage to the right rear pretty extensive.
Yeah, that's such a shame. Did not put in a lap time, so it's going to wind up compounding. We talked about this morning. If you have a problem early, it compounds for the rest of the weekend. But Thomas Naveau not really able to put in a time, so he's going to end up starting the race tail end.
Now, I mentioned the issue there for Billy Fraser. I'm not going to jump at it right now. He was slow down the back straightaway. Maybe he was just letting the guys get in front of him. I don't know whether or not there's any kind of an issue. We are seeing full course yellow, and as I had said, we'll have 20 minutes max of qualifying time, so we potentially, if we go full course, these drivers may end up coming back to pit lane. Again, yellow's being thrown, at least on the back straightaway. That could just be, that may not be full course. That may be just the back part of the straightaway where the driver's potentially gone off. So an issue, as we said, Thomas Naveau in the D-Force Racing number 10, the Canadian getting too aggressive coming out of turn number 11, tagged the right rear, and that's Billy Fraser. So indeed, an issue for Billy Fraser in the number 92 for Exclusive Autosport. And we do have the red flag, so everyone will bring their cars back to pit lane. What a tough way to start this one. And a horrible, horrible situation for Billy Fraser in the number 92, the New Zealander in his second year in the program. Billy Fraser was very relaxed of the opening session, didn't push it too hard, was knowing he's going to come out and get back at it when we go here for this qualifying session. And he's had a he's had a couple of podiums this year. He's been knocking on the door of his first win. This is not good. to start the weekend for Billy Fraser.
Oh, no. This is, again, so difficult. Sitting fifth in the championship, Billy Fraser behind Jagger Jones, who's fourth overall. But I'm a little bit startled and surprised at the turn of events that we've had here with Thomas Naveau and now Billy Fraser after having such a good session this morning. And I don't know, maybe we need to have another drivers meeting, a reminder of just take it easy. You can't do too much too quickly.
Probably expecting the track to be better than it was, right? And that's the thing, especially when you're going out on these cold tires. They're brand new Cooper tires. They haven't run new tires here yet, obviously, with the scuffed tires, the carryovers from Mid-Ohio for the opening session. Thomas Naveau just getting on that throttle. It's a little too early coming out what is a tighter turn number 11 this year. So a little mistake there for him. For Billy Fraser, I don't know if it's a mechanical. I didn't see like the car was crabbing coming down the straightaway, Todd. It doesn't feel like there was any damage there. But indeed, we have had to go full course and into red because there is the wing of Thomas Naveau right here onto the front straightaway, and the AMR IndyCar safety crew will head out there to make sure that track is clean. The last thing you want is a driver coming out of the last corner, getting a puncture coming up the straightaway, and having an issue in the very quick turn number 1.
No, this is and when you come out of 11 onto the front straightaway, you drift from one side of the track to the other, so you are gonna cover a lot of area. You want to make sure that all that debris is cleared up before these guys get back out and attempt their qualifying. As Rob mentioned, guaranteed 20 minutes of green flag qualifying, so we'll see what happens, and hopefully they get this track cleared and get back into the qualifying mode pretty quickly.
I think it'll be pretty quick. They're towing the machine of Billy Fraser, and it appears to me the car's rolling cleanly, so some kind of a mechanical. It may be lucky for him, but bringing out that red flag as he is going to lose his fast lap of the race. So he's going to have to go back out, push, and get 2 very quick laps to see what Billy Fraser can do. I'm sure the team will be there. The guys from Elite Engines will be there as well to plug in to see if it's any kind of an issue with the power plant that they're able to remedy quickly. Otherwise, we'll get back to green flag soon. But I'll say this right now. Obviously, we just wrapped up our autograph session for USF2000 and Indy Pro inside the Intercare Center, and there is a buzz in there right now. Man, we've gone to these races, Todd, throughout the year. St. Petersburg was awesome. We've had some great, once again, Road America, as always, fantastic. Mid-Ohio. There's something here about Toronto. It's just inside the Intercare Center right now. There's a buzz. People are walking around. It is so good to be back here at this race.
It is a tremendous day, and it's going to be a tremendous weekend here in Toronto at the Honda Indy Toronto. Just to have everyone back. As mentioned, it's been nearly 1,100 days since the IndyCar Series and the Road to Indy were here as part of the Honda Indy Toronto. And just to have that back is just a revitalizing of the city, to have everyone back, to be able to come out and participate. Great crowd here on Friday as well, and we know the crowds are just going to get even larger and larger as the weekend goes along, and understandably so, because they're going to see lots of great action in the NTT IndyCar Series, the sports cars, the NASCAR Pinty Series, and of course these 2 Road to Indy Series races on tomorrow and then again on Sunday are going to provide lots of real close competition.
That's it. There's going to be great side-by-side racing. The turn 1 battle, of course, down into turn number 3. The Jumbotrons around the racetrack to provide you with the coverage. I know, just some beautiful sunshine here. What a great Friday it is. And again, Free Friday. Thank you, of course, to the Ontario Honda dealers for supporting this day's action. Great to have everybody out here, and again, looking forward to getting back to green flag for our 20 minutes that we guarantee these drivers, or the max. We're now 3 minutes and 40 seconds of green flag, so a lot still to come. AMR safety crew on the throttle to get themselves back to their posts, and a fantastic job of getting this track where it needs to be. Christian Weir with the fastest 2 outlaps. Christian Weir, the young driver for Turn 3 Motorsports, with a 1:15.416. These times are, of course, going to fall. His teammate Spike Kohlbecker in the 2nd spot. Nicky Hayes in 3rd for Cape Motorsports. Jagger Jones, Miles Rowe. Engines refired, and we're back at it. Drivers rolling back out here onto the front straightaway. And Todd, what I really love about this is that it's really challenging the drivers mentally as well. They were getting themselves ready to go. I'm rolling out here. You just get those 2 laps in. You're kind of starting to feel in the groove a bit. You're cinching the seatbelts down a little bit more, and then the red flag comes out.
And now you have to start the process all over again. Okay, refocus. So you talked about it this morning after a few laps out on track. Come in, push the reset button, understand this is what the goal is, this is what the next mission is, and it's get the tires back up to temperature and get some clear track space, because everybody will be bunched together again, and you got to find a hole to get yourself a quick lap.
I don't know that we'll see Thomas Naveau back out. They'll be able to change the front wing pretty quickly, but that damage to the right rear when he got a little loose coming out of turn 11, pretty significant. Billy Fraser, as we know, potentially just a mechanical. Hopefully they'll be able to get him plugged in and figure out whatever it is electronically to get Billy Fraser back where he needs to be. The Kiwi, who is 5th place in points, rolls in here with 4 podium finishes. And Fraser, we'll hope to see him back out here. So that's 5th place in points. Still a lot of ways to go in terms of getting to the championship. 5 races still on the docket. 2 here, 3 in Portland. The Road to Indy Scholarship for the Indy Pro 2000 program waiting in the balance when we get to Portland in our season finale on Labor Day weekend. Drivers up on the throttle now again. Those first couple of laps really just kind of cleaning off those tires. So they should have some pretty good grip. They'll come up to temperature a little bit quicker, having that first couple of laps in. You'll see drivers kind of trying to space themselves out a little bit. The last thing you want to do is get caught up with the driver in front of you right when you're on that flyer. And you hear that from a lot of drivers, don't you? Yeah, I was on a flyer, but I got caught up and I lost my fast lap. Sometimes it's excuses, sometimes it's actually the reality. So their job is to make sure they have open racetracks so they're able to lay down those good laps. And as Todd and I mentioned earlier on, he kind of alluded to it. A lot goes into a fast lap in qualifying. It's not just, like I said, going out there and banging off laps. Remember, every lap they're on the racetrack, they're burning fuel. The car's getting lighter and lighter. When they do come in, and if indeed they do come in halfway through to put on fresh Cooper tires, the tire pressures have to be right. The driver has to bring them up to temperature at the perfect time so they get right into that optimum window. That driver needs to make sure there's no traffic. The car's got to be as light as possible. And then the driver has to get the job done and put down an absolutely perfect lap to earn that pole position. You want to start up front here for sure. Any race you want to start up front, but I'll tell you, Toronto, if you can get through the opening lap and kind of get through turns 3, 4, and 5 on that opening circuit, you got a really good opportunity to take a run to the podium. Michael D'Orlando lays down a 1:14.467. Fast lap we saw earlier today was a 1:14.2. We're only 0.2 of a second off, and they haven't even got these tires up to temp. And that just illustrates how much better this racetrack is than it was at 8 o'clock this morning. Of course, the Pinty's drivers out there putting a lot of rubber down with their heavy race cars. We had the Porsches out there. The sports cars were out there as well. So this track, much different than what these young drivers were presented with early this morning. Just at the 7-minute mark right now of green flag racing, green flag time, we should have at least another 12 minutes to go. Again, 20 minutes of green flag max in a 30-minute session. Christian Weir back to the top, Nicky Hayes as well, Spike Colbecker, Michael D'Orlando, and Jagger Jones, your current Fast 5. Thomas Naveau and Billy Fraser still in pit lane. That'll be being told for Billy Fraser. He's taking that machine back to the paddock. Man, if Billy Fraser has any consolation, he'll be able to come back out tomorrow morning to qualify for race number 2. We'll have a separate qualifying for race 2, but I'll tell you this right now. When we go racing tomorrow afternoon with the USF2000, this is going to be one of the drivers to watch. Billy Fraser will start 16th, tail the field. This guy will charge his way through to the front, so that'll be a guy to watch tomorrow, and we'll talk about that when we do our pre-show here on the Road to Indy TV network. Christian Weir on top of the 113.9. First driver into the 113, young Christian Weir. Ran a number of races late last year. Does not have the rookie status, but did his first full season of USF2000 competition with Turn 3 Motorsports. Christian Weir out of Naperville, Illinois, in the number 32. Now P2 is Jace Denmark and Miles Rowe have gone to the top. The two Pabst Racing drivers, first and second. Denmark, who was quickest earlier today, ahead of his teammate Rowe. Jagger Jones up into third. Weir fourth. Colbecker in fifth spot. Jacob Douglas, the Kiwi, up into sixth. Nicky Hayes seventh. Dylan Christie in eighth. Michael D'Orlando ninth. And Majoy Gard rounding out the top 10. This is where the drivers have to start to dial things in a little bit. They're coming around to having maybe 10 more minutes of green flag time. So right now, it's been a good session for the Pabst Racing drivers. The first 6 laps, they find themselves 1-2, separated by about a tenth of a second. Jace Denmark P1 in the number 23, and Miles Rowe second in the number 22. Weir, Jones, Kohlbecker, still your top 5. So midway through the session, this is where the drivers really have to step things up because the fuel continuing to go down. I don't know that we'll see anybody in pit lane, but if they're going to do it, they'll do it here in the next couple of minutes, I would expect. Here's the shot at turn number 7 to turn number 8. Left-hand turn, turn number 9. As they work their way out there, you can see the pit lane entrance right there as well. Turn 1, little lock up there for Miles Rowe as he really tried to charge that corner a little bit. And this is such a tough corner for these young drivers who have never been here. You think about the transition as they kind of roll the car on the pavement. Then it gets onto that concrete patch where they have to kind of make sure the car's straight, roll it back across onto the pavement again, and then get that thing pointed back down to the apex of turn number 2. Very narrow on the exit as it comes down to turn number 2. And, of course, the escape road. If you go over turn number 1, you can go through turn 1, escape all the way around, and come out the other side of turn number 2. So if you do have an issue and go off the racetrack in turn 1, can't get it wound up, you can come back onto the racetrack over in turn number 2. Denmark, Rowe, Jones, D'Orlando, and Weir now to the top 5 as Michael D'Orlando has found some more speed. A 1:13.619 for D'Orlando, less than 0.2 of a second, separating the top 4 drivers. Weir runs in the 5th spot, Kohlbecker 6th, Ivagoras Papasavas now up into the 7th spot. Excellent job for the driver to Loveland, Ohio. Papasavas for Jay Howard Driver Development. Had to start the season a little later than he expected, had a pretty nasty wreck at the Supercars USA Super Nationals karting event in Las Vegas last year, and actually had a head injury that they had to work on and let him get past. He's healthy, 100%, and really starting to learn. At Mid-Ohio 2 weeks ago, a better weekend than his debut at Road America. Was able to finish all the races. Crucial experience for Papasavas, and we'll see whether or not he's able to be top 10 this weekend.
Great to see a driver who can come back and takes the time necessary to recover fully from an injury suffered, and then taking the time to get back in the car and then work yourself back up to speed. It's not an instant overnight thing. It takes little time for them to get comfortable and get back into the drill and routine again.
Especially with a head injury, right, Todd? That's one that you really have to make sure you err to the side of caution. You want to make sure a driver like that is going to be 100% before they get back onto the racetrack. And especially for Papasavas, brand new kid, just getting into the road to Indy. Doesn't need to really rush it. He's only 16 years old anyways, so lots of time for him. Oh, they got the number 10 of Thomas Naveau back out. Kudos to D-Force Racing. Wow.
Good for them. That's some fast work in pit lane. Let's mention as well, Jace Denmark has just turned a quicker time. He and Michael D'Orlando have been going back and forth the last little bit. A 1:13.1 to a 1:13.2 for D'Orlando.
2 great stories right now. Let's jump to Jacob Douglas in the number 90. Again, that mid-season improvement from the rookie drivers. Jacob was right there, just outside the top 10 for a lot of the season. Then he's been knocking out top 10s. He's got 3 top 10s over the last couple of weekends. Looking really good here for qualifying for Exclusive Autosport. Jacob Douglas at that number 90 up to P4. His dad just flew over from New Zealand. He's had his mom here for a couple of races. His driving coach, Tiffany Chittenden, was here. Dad's now here for a couple of weekends, I think. So awesome to see them over here from New Zealand. A great run here for Jacob Douglas. But I just want to go back to Thomas Naveau. Kudos to D-Force Racing. That was a front wing change and significant work to the rear bump, the right rear of that car. He clouded the wall pretty good coming out of turn number 11. So very likely the full suspension coming off that car, going back on to get him onto the racetrack. And for him, a potential weekend saver. If he's able to get himself up into the top 10, that would be huge. He could have been at the very tail of the grid with Billy Fraser.
No question. That right rear tire was definitely not pointed in the right direction after that incident from Thomas Naveau coming out onto the front straight. And this minute and a half or so left in qualifying, so getting down. And, oh, look at Miles Rowe, just gone under a minute 13.
Now, I know that we're saying 1:17 down here, but I believe we've got probably 6 more minutes here. I think we're just a little wrong on qualifying because we do have time still in this session. 6 more minutes, I believe, of qualifying set to go. It is I believe, a 30-minute session. Let me confirm myself on that. I think it is a 30-minute session here. So, indeed, I know 20-minute session. I thought we had a 30-minute session. It's actually 20 minutes. So we are wrapping things up here based on what I see on the schedule here. Miles Rowe on top of the 112.835. Jace Denmark in second. Pabst Racing runs 1-2 right now. Jacob Douglas up to third spot. What a tremendous run it's been here for Jacob Douglas so far. He is really rolling that car. Indeed, yeah, 20-minute session. Same for tomorrow morning. So 20-minute sessions here in qualifying. So these guys are getting it done. We've got 20 seconds remaining. I thought we have more time. Indeed, no, just 20. Normally we have a 30-minute session with 20 minutes of green flag. Just a straight 20-minute session. So wow, pressure on these drivers. Oh, and a big move there. Coming through turns number 9 and 10. Talking about hustling the car around. Rowe, Denmark, Douglas, DeOrlando, and Weir, your top 5.
Even more important for Thomas Naveau and that team to get back out then, even a greater feat to get it done in the less than 20-minute session that they had.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I thought it was a 30-minute session. I was going to say, well done. They got him back onto the racetrack, and Naveau's going to have to get the job done himself. You never know how damaged the car could be. Is it bent a little bit, whatever it may be. We'll see what he's able to do. And ideally put a good lap. And need a 1:15.6, really his first lap at speed. So, again, this will be the final circuit here for Thomas Naveau. But right now, Miles Rowe on top. A bonus point. Oh, there's a tap of the wall for the number 90, Douglas. He's P3, but he has clouded the wall coming out of turn number 5. Douglas pushing in turn 5, kind of got a little bit of mid-corner oversteer, and he tapped the right rear on the wall. So Douglas falling down the order, but not able to get another quick lap at the end, but he still remains on the outside of row number 2. And yeah, there's the damage to him right there. Douglas with right rear damage, although I believe he'll be able to limp it back to pit lane and will hold on to 4th right now. That's the best qualifying effort for Douglas, but he will be beating himself up on that one. Pushing a little too hard on the final circuit, and that's we talked about this from the very beginning, Todd. That is the part of this racetrack that is so slippery through turn number 5. You can see he got it into the corner. It was essentially a tank slapper, if you will. He was going right, left, right on the wheel, and boom, right rear into the wall.
It's amazing to watch these drivers, even these young drivers in the first step on the Road to Indy USF2000 series, and the car control that they're able to demonstrate, flicking the hands back and forth, just trying to save that rear end. Didn't quite get it in this case for Jacob Douglas, but just the multiple moves through one corner, saving that rear end.
Let's have a look at the unofficial results for qualifying for race number 1 for the Cooper Tires USF2000 Championship. This is big for Miles Rowe. Bonus point as he's able to stretch his lead out to 13 points now going into the races. And he'll also have his teammate on the outside of him. It's a Pabst Racing front row lockout, which is key for both Rowe and Denmark. Remember, Denmark not out of the championship chase at all either. He's currently P3. Jagger Jones for Cape Motorsports leading the crew. The 3 drivers from Cape Motorsports. Jagger will start on the inside of row 2 alongside Jacob Douglas, a young Kiwi for Exclusive Autosport. His best qualifying effort of the season, but as we said, a little touch on the wall in turn 5 on that final circuit. Championship contender Michael DeOrlando is going to start on the inside of row number 3 alongside Christian Weir. It'll be Spike Kohlbecker and Nikki Hayes on row 4. And Ivagoras Papasavas, great qualifying run for the Jay Howard driver development pilot as he goes P9 ahead of Bejoy Garg. Dylan Christie, Nicholas DeOrlando, Thomas Naveau, Jorge Garcias, and Frederick Lund rounding out the drivers that had taken lap times. As we know, Billy Fraser was not able to put a lap in the books in his Exclusive Autosport Corpay number 92 rather. So Fraser is going to start at the tail of the field in 16th. I'm telling you this, Todd, that will be a driver to watch in race number 1. He is going to be super aggressive trying to get himself back to the front.
Oh, yeah, he's running 5th in the championship, forced to start at the back because of a problem, and that is always fun to watch one of these drivers who has to make a charge to try to maintain and hopefully improve a position in a championship and understand that he's got to really come through the field.
So we've got one more session, Todd, coming before we cap off the day here in terms of the road to Indy. We'll be back again at the 1:55, about 55 minutes from now. Indy Pro 2000 qualifying, getting their one and only session today in the afternoon, qualifying for race number 1 tomorrow.
Thank you, Rob Howden. Good to see you, and we'll have you back for the Indy Pro 2000 coming up in just a little bit. Before then, though, the